We have Richard Edlund, we have the EEG people, we have people who have done part of the Star Wars trilogy and Poltergeist. They want to make sure that all these effects that they use in Ghostbusters are different.
Completely new.
I'm Richard Edlund. I'm not exactly what I did on the film. I did a lot of things. I mean, it was, I guess, supervisor, and it was an opportunity that came by way of a phone call from Ivan Reitman when I was having an operation on my back.
John Brunel was the visual effects art director on Ghostbusters. Once we had finished Poltergeist, I went on to do a film called Corsican Brothers with Cheech and Chong, and I was in Europe when I got a call from Richard, said, do you want to work on this movie?
Terry Wendell, and I was one of the animation supervisors on the show. Yeah, I knew John from the past. He'd hired me on Heavy Metal, which was an animated feature to do layout and design work. And I was living in Canada along with Anique, my wife, who I met during the show, and visited John at ILM, and that's how we hooked up to do on Poltergeist.
A bunch of us that are assembled here today were all kind of waiting for the go on this, and once I did get a go, then we all came together at a studio in Marina del Rey, which was kind of like a pile of parts, and we had to essentially rebuild the whole studio, come up with techniques and styles for doing the whole show, design and storyboard everything, and execute within the space of about a little over 10 months. It was quite an amazing project, and I think that it couldn't have been done without this group of people.
Basically, the trapping process is...
It's difficult. It's something like trying to get smoke into a Coke bottle with a baseball bat.
I remember the meeting that we had where Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray and everybody came down. They had a very naive approach to making the effects, but they had a very energetic approach to the style of the film. They just wanted it to be balls out fun. They wanted people to be able to laugh, and they didn't care how it happened.
So it was just, let's just do, it's like a three-dimensional cartoon. Let's just do it.
Normally, we came out of this sort of razor edge, laser light, Star Wars look, all bottom-lit animation. And this was all about throwing all that stuff away and just kind of coming up with something from our guts.
He slimed me.
The effects that were done at the time of Ghostbusters required a completely different type of ingenuity than exists today. I mean, the effects ultimately in Ghostbusters wound up costing about $5.6 million. If we'd have done Dan's original script, it would have been $40 million in effects. So when Harold Ramis started working with Ivan on paring the script down, and we started going through and saying, we don't want to bring the Marshmallow Man out of the East River because it doesn't make sense. And secondly, it'll cost much more to do. The idea was to try to figure out how to most simplify this incredible mental explosion. One of the signatures of the movie is the Neutrona-One animation, which is the idea of rubberizing light and coming up with a comedic-looking animation once these guys with these berserk Neutrona-Wands were let loose with them.
One of the descriptions was this Neutrona wand was basically someone holding a thermonuclear accelerator on their back, and what would happen if they turned it on.
The pack is a positron collider, and the wand or the stick is a neutrona thrower.
It'd be like 1,000 times more powerful than one man holding a fire hose. And actually took explosions that were filmed on the stage and then rephotographed them with a technique that these guys developed called pin blocking, so he could miniaturize these little explosions. So like the tip of the gun had pyrotechnic explosions and flares and things laced in there with about 5 levels of classical animation that was also manipulated on the optical printer by Mark Vargo. So all this stuff put together just came out into this kind of wild thing.
The first effect that we really see in the movie when they see the librarian in the library and she tells him to shut up. And her book, I remember, because she was kind of soft and was diffused, but her book had to be sharp, which Anique's people fixed, so the book was rotoscoped, so it was separately treat it.
I really enjoyed working with Richard and everybody else. I worked before with them on Return of the Jedi at ILM. And it was a great experience, and they kind of accepted me and respected me a lot.
And Nick also really took the bull by the horns, and if somebody wasn't producing, she'd let him know. And it was very effective, I think, you know.
Very much so.
Don't you guys all agree?
Yes.
We did get whipped every now and
It was a
then.
Nikonook.
So I would end up, you know, projecting the image down, and on a cell I would use like a pidograph number 00050, whatever how small it would be, and outline frame by frame each characters, and we would paint them black and then shoot them bottom light. That probably took like 3 weeks to do, like 1 second, 2 seconds.
All in all, from what was projected and what was done, the amount of work increase on her department was, tenfold from what was projected. And she
I remember constantly surprising her with, oh, here's another shot.
My shelf kept, the film kept growing and growing on the shelf.
Yeah, he's trying to find ways to sneak up and leave the
Kind of like,
print without.
is she at lunch? Yeah.
John DeCure, who always thought big, had found this location in New York, which was a building that went up X number of stories, and it was like Calvin Klein had the penthouse there. But we added about another 10 stories onto it with matte paintings for numerous shots.
And there was a nice touch in that shot because I think Neil had thought of, he photographed me and Michelle and 2 or 3 others up high and inserted us in a balcony in a painting on the lower right side. So there was some movement because, you look down there and the cars aren't really moving, they're painted.
As a matte painter, I mean, Michelle, who is probably one of the, if not the top matte painter in the business today, in my opinion.
Still don't change.
She's a little shy.